Hi, okay, today is our consolidation session. That's where we take everything that we have learned so far and just see how we're getting on with it. So it's not a test. I don't want you to treat it like a test. Obviously, if you don't need to look things up and you can remember, that's great, because that's where we want to get to anyway. But if you do need to check in and look back at any work that you've done to help you, then please do. We are going to just literally go through this where you pause, have a go at the question, hit play, and then I just talk through how to answer it. Okay, so the first one is there and waiting. So hit pause, do your best, and then press play when you are ready. Okay, so the first part of this is asking us to show the inequality x is less than 5. So I'm going to go to the 5. I'm going to put my open circle. I'm not going to colour it in because there is no equal to on that symbol, is there? And then I don't think any harder than looking at the symbol itself. It's pointing down, and that becomes my arrowhead. Doesn't matter how long the line is, but it does matter that you put the actual arrow on. All right. So that's the first question done. You've got y sandwiched between a range of numbers 2 and 6. We're told it's an integer, so it's a whole number, and you've got to write down all the possible values. So the range is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This inequality doesn't have an equals, so I can't include the 2 in my list. And actually, neither does this, so I can't include that. So my final answer would be 3, 4, and 5, this being my working out, because they're generally 2-mark questions. Solve means I've got to get x on its own. So first job is to get the x's together. At the moment, I have got x's on either side, haven't I? So that is going to land as take 4x. So that's going to give me 5 is less than 6 take 4, 2x minus 9. Okay, I'm then going to hop my minus 9, which will land as a plus 9. Well, 9 and 4 is 14. And then I'm going to divide through by that 2 so that I end up with 7 and x. Okay, 7 is less than x, or x is greater than 7. If you wanted to write the x first, you must remember that it is greater. Okay, so it might be worth not taking that risk. It's a little trickier when it comes to the number line, because you have to be careful of relying on the arrowhead. So just be aware of that. All right, next question. There you go. Hit pause and press play when you are ready. All right, so we've got 2 column vectors, A and B, and on the grid, we've got to draw and label the vector A minus 2B. Okay, so we obviously need to work out what 2B is. So we know that A is 5, 3. We've got to take away 2 lots of B. So we've got to times this B up by 2. So that's going to give me 6 and minus 2. 5 take 6 is minus 1, and 3 minus minus 2 is 5. So the resultant vector that we get from doing A minus 2B, oh, the sun's just come out and hit me. Yeah, I'm just going to be very bright in your screen now. Yeah, so the resultant vector that we get is minus 1, 5. So that is the vector that we have to draw. So we're going to be going back 1 and up 5. So I'm going to work a little bit further down here. So that's my starting point. Go back 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, up 5. And then we draw that in. So up we go. And remember that arrow is really, really important. That's the direction, start to end is going up that way. So that's our minus 1, 5. It does say draw and label. So I am going to label this as A minus 2B. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Question 3. We are simplifying. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so it's a times question. I therefore add the powers. 4 plus 5 is 9. This is a divide question, so I take the powers. So C, I've got 4 take 2 is 2. And for my D, I've got 5 take 1 is 4. Don't forget your invisible one there. And then I'm solving. So I've got 5x divided by 2. Divide by 2 is the last thing I said. So the first thing I hop. That's going to give me 5x being greater than 18. I'm then going to divide through by the 5. And that is my final answer. X is greater than 18 over 5. I can actually leave it like that because it doesn't say solve and give your answer in a particular way, does it? It just says solve. So I've got X on its own. If I wanted to go on and give it a mixed number, then I could also say that it was 3 3/5, or I could give 3.6 as a decimal. And if you did that, that's all correct, okay? All right, question 4. We have got that one for you. So give it a read through and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so we're first of all being asked the scale factor of the enlargement. So all I'm going to do is just focus in on an edge and just count to see what's going on. I've got 2 squares that way. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that way. So I've got 2 and 6, which means the scale factor must be 3. What do I times 2 by to get to 6? It's 3. So the scale factor 3 is my answer there. It then says triangle A is moved 4 squares to the left on the grid. Draw the new position of triangle A. So we're literally just following the instruction of 4 squares to the left. So you choose a corner. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to use that one, I think. And then I'm just going to go down, across and up when it comes to drawing it. So I know I draw it from the right point as well. And we're literally just going 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down, around and up. And that is your answer. Okay, next question, question 5. Have a read through and a go and press play when you're ready. Okay, so write down all the possible integer values for n. So the range of numbers is -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. Taking a look at the inequality signs now, there's no equal sign for the -5, so we're not going to be including that. But there is for the 1, so I will be including that. So that's my thinking. I'm demonstrating what I'm doing to my examiner, and then I would list out on the dotted line really clearly the numbers that I was including in my answer. You've then got to write down the inequality that's been represented on the number line. So again, it's really easy to just do. I've got -2 is my starting number. I've got 4 as my end number. X is going to be in the middle. It cannot equal 4 because that circle's not coloured in, but it can equal the -2. And these symbols will always take that shape. You would never see that one, okay? So you don't have to worry too much about that. When you're reading them, this says X is less than 4, which it is because these numbers are less than 4. And when you read this backwards, it says greater than or equal to -2. And obviously they are greater than -2, aren't they? Good. Question 6. Pause and press play when you're ready. So for this one, you've got to describe fully the single transformation that maps A to B. Now we can see it's an enlargement just by looking at it. So the first thing that we should be doing is writing that down. Enlargement is important. There are 4 transformations in total, and this is just one of them. So we've got to show that we know the word and the language. Then I'm going to concentrate on an edge to work out the scale factor. It's gone from 1 to 2, so it's got a scale factor of 2. The only thing I've now got left to do is to find that center of enlargement. Where is the starting point where we do our staircase, or we work and count on our vectors and things like that? And we did that using raise as an option. And this is the final answer. So the center was 6 minus 5. So I was looking at my steps. I knew it was a scale factor of 2. So I could do the last step and then repeat it. That was one option that I could have done, a backwards staircase. That's not always that easy. So the raise are probably the best way to do things. Just make sure you've got those corners really well lined up so they really do meet, okay, at a point. Okay, so that's question 6. Don't have another one there. There we go. Question 7. Pause and hit play when you're ready. Okay, so this question is asking us to do b minus 2a. So b is 6, 2. And then we want 2 lots of a. So if I times this one up, and remember I'm taking away 3 2s are 6, and minus 6 times 2 is minus 12. And then we literally do what we see. We've got 6 take 6. Well, that is going to give us 0. And then we've got 2. And we've got that minus minus making a plus. So 2 plus 12 is 14. And that would be the final answer for that one. Okay, next question. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so a power to a power means that we multiply. So I've got m to the 20 for this one. We've got a division here, 8 minus, and then I've got minus 3. So I've got that double negative creating a positive. So the final answer for that one is y to the 11. And then this one, we've just got to be thinking, we mustn't be put off because it looks different. We just need to be thinking what we know. I know you add the powers when it's a times question. So you're going to be doing 4 plus this number I don't know, and it's going to equal 9. N will have to be 5 for that to be true. So if I had a 5 there, 4 plus 5 is 9. Okay. There's your next question. Okay, so let's take a look. First part of this question is asking us to show the inequality on the number line. So I can see it's going to be an open circle at minus 3, and we're pointing up the number line because x is greater than minus 3. Next part is to work out the greatest integer that satisfies the inequality. So I'm going to get x on its own so that I can narrow this down to what x is less than. So we're going to take the 6 over. That will land as minus 6x, leaving me 4x minus 23 being less than 9. And we're going to keep going. So that's going to land as plus 23 to give me 4x is less than 32. And then, of course, divide through it by the 4. It's going to give us x is less than 8. Now, we're being asked to work out the greatest integer. Integers are whole numbers that satisfy the inequality. The inequality says that x is less than 8. So it can't equal 8. So 8 isn't an integer that we can use. The next greatest integer is 7. Because x is less, it's going 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So the greatest integer would be 7. All right, I hope that makes sense, because sometimes it's hard to get our head around that. X cannot equal 8, so the next biggest number it can be is 7. Okay, all right, on to the next question. All right, there we go. Okay, so we've got 3x plus 8 being greater than 19. Going to get 8 on its own. This one's actually easier than the last one because we don't have x's on both sides. 19 take 8 is 11. We are going to divide through by the 3, and then you've got x is greater than 11 over 3. Okay, which is the same as 3 and 2/3, 3.666666 recurring. So if you've got those sort of numbers, then you're on the right lines, okay? And this one says you've got to find the smallest value of x. If x is an integer, okay, we're saying that x is greater than 3.23. If x is an integer, find the smallest value that it can take, okay? So x is greater than 3 2/3. So it can't be 3. It can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It can be any number greater than 3 2/3. So what is the smallest value of x? The smallest value of x, in fact, I would put it as a sentence, smallest value of x, let me just get rid of that other x so that it's not like in two places, is 4. And I hope that helps, because obviously that's where my brain was going on the last question, but it wasn't necessary. For this question, where we've got that fraction, we've got to think about it. That isn't an integer at the end of the day. So the smallest value that we can have is 4. And then all the numbers that are integers above will be in it as well. Okay, we have a power question. So hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so for this one, they are not wanting us to work out a final value. So they don't want a number. They still want an answer that is a power of 5. So these are powers of 5. So our answer is going to look like one of those. So think about the top. We've got 5 to the 5 times 5 to the 6. It's a time, so we add. We end up with 5 to the 11 over 5 to the 3. That's your first mark. That's your method. And then you finish it off using your division rule, which is to take the powers. And 11 take 8 is, of course, 11 take 3, I'm giving you the answer, is, of course, 8. 5 to the 8. Anything raised to the 0 is 1. And here we have that negative, which means we've got a small number. That tells me it's a reciprocal. We're putting it over 1. 4 to the power of 2 is going to give me 1 over 16. Okay. All right, next question, question 12. You need to show the inequality. So, and then you've got another one to solve. So hit pause and press play when you're ready. So we're at -2, we're at 3. Join them up. Don't draw any colours in because neither of those inequalities have the equal sign. So that's what that should look like. Now we're going to hop to get x on its own. So plus 12 will land as -12. That'll leave me 10x being less than or equal to -48 minus another 12. Make sure you go the right way on the number line. That's -60. Then you're going to divide through by that 10, and x is greater than or equal to. Now, how many 10s can you get into 60? 6. If there's one negative in the question, there's one in the answer. So you have that as your final answer. Okay, so our next question is this one. Hit pause and press play when you're ready. So I've pre-done the answers just to make sure the software was working okay, but I will talk you through them to make sure they're clear. So the first thing that we were being asked to do was to translate shape A in the vector 6 minus 3. So that means that we're moving forward 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 3. And you can see that I've drawn the new shape from the corner that I counted from, and I've labeled it B, just like they asked me to. I was then asked on the grid to translate B in the vector -4, -4, and label that C. So that now means that I take this shape. I'm going to go back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 4. And my new shape is here. And again, I've made sure that I've drawn it from the corner that I counted from. It's easy to go wrong when I do that. The last bit is literally asking to write the column vector for the translation that goes from A directly to C. So if I choose a corner, and I can see the corner on C is here, I've got to move forward 2 and then down a total of 7, which is why the answer is 2 minus 7. So hopefully that went well. Your next question is here. All right, so you're enlarging that shape by the scale factor of 2.5. This is our last question as well. So good luck with that, and press play when you're ready. Okay, and again, the answer's done. Now, these types of questions, when they are diagonals rather than verticals and horizontal, can be a little bit trickier. So the way that I personally approached this question was I did look at a horizontal line. I could see that there were 4 squares from this corner to this corner. I multiplied that up by the scale factor, and then I made sure I had 10 squares on my new horizontal. I did the same thing with the vertical so that I could get this distance right, and then it was just easy to join up all the corners. So working on diagonals is not a great idea. It's not easy to do that. So even when the horizontals and verticals are kind of not there, they're almost invisible, you can usually find something to work from. All right, so we are done for this session. Consolidations are a great opportunity to see how we're getting on and how much of our learning is starting to just kind of sink in and we feel more confident with, and which areas we know we're going to need to do a little bit more work on. They're never a test, so I hope you have looked things up if you've needed to. But well done today, and I will see you next session.